Disney's Frozen has become a huge smash success, breaking lots of records, and some people calling it the best thing Disney has done since The Lion King. But the film turned out to be a very different change from what it had started as, according to Claire Keane, a former animator for the project, who's released some images. So here we have early images of what Frozen should have been. That blue thing is Elsa, the Snow Queen. So it is said to be based on Bette Midler, but when I look at her, I see a cross between Ursula from The Little Mermaid and Hades from Hercules.
What's the cheekbones?
Yeah. She seems to be a different character in general, though, because in the movie she's more of an elegant, kind of restrained character.
Holy hourglass, Batman.
Yeah. Well, she does have big hips still.
Yeah.
Here's another rendering, much more dramatic version.
This is very much more Hades. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, doesn't it? It looks like fire. Oh, there's one more.
See, that one I think is the most Bette Midler.
That looks like Bette Midler, for sure.
Sort of.
So the film, I know you haven't seen it yet, but it's been through many iterations. Disney had wanted to produce The Snow Queen years ago. Frozen is sort of based on The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen, but it's very different story-wise. And I could see why, because The Snow Queen is a very complicated story. It's a little bit hard to animate, and it's a little bit hard to engender it to children, who would be the main audience. We also have some other images from the book, The Art of Frozen, that showed the concept of the character as she developed. Let's take a look at those. So this looks kind of like the way she looks now in the dress, Elsa, but you can see she looks kind of evil.
She does look kind of evil.
Yeah, so
a little bit White Queen from Marvel, Emma Frost.
Yeah, and then some of these I feel like she looks like the Ice Queen from the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Emma Frost. And there she looks like Yzma from The Emperor's New Groove.
I get a little bit of the muses from Hercules.
You're right.
It's the hair, yeah.
Yes, one of the main muse.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. And
Whoa.
then Maleficent horns, kind of.
I'm assuming that's supposed to be hair.
Maybe?
Now, was there like big, heavy fur draperies that made it into the film?
Not
or was
really.
It in the slinky ice dresses?
No, she has an ice dress, but she also has it looks like a traditional Scandinavian dress earlier in the film before the ice dress, and her sister is the same way. So it developed a lot. I mean, at first it seems like Elsa was meant to be a villainous character, but if you've seen the movie, which you have not, she's not a villain. She's like a sympathetic secondary protagonist.
Yeah, it's weird to see how far like animated features come from like conception and concept art to the finished product. Like, not many people know this, but the first concept art from The Lion King, he was a prince of Denmark. So, like, that's crazy that they became lions.
No! It was based loosely on Hamlet, but it wasn't Hamlet. Okay, so Frozen has a lot of feminist undertones in it. I know you haven't seen it yet, but the prince doesn't come in and save the day. That's not a spoiler. The prince doesn't come in and save the day. She doesn't depend on his love to make things happen. It seems like this is the progression of how children's movies have changed over time. Because if you look at those photos, it looks like it would have been a pretty traditional, like, oh, she's evil and she's good, and they're at odds with each other the whole time, and it didn't end up that way. So I think that's an interesting progression of how movies have changed.
Would you say that Disney has matured?
I think they have to.
Do they have to financially, or do they have to as being socially responsible, or do they have to because society is maturing and they can't make those princess and prince dominated kids movies that they used to?
I know they've been under pressure from certain groups saying like, oh, that's anti-woman and that's misogynistic. And whether or not they agree with that or not, or if people in general agree with that or not, they did want to make the movies more, I guess, progressively themed.
All right, let me steer my question in a different direction then. There was also recently a story about a petition for Disney to make a plus-size princess. or at least a more normal looking princess that girls can look up to that don't have that skinny hourglass figure. I mean, all of that concept art was like super skinny characters.
The final products they're very thin.
Yeah. So do you think there's a market out there for a plus-sized princess?
I think in the end, Disney is going to do what makes them money, because a lot of people have also been saying there should be more people of color as princesses, and that they're too Anglo. But
Well,
I
they
think in
had-
the end, they're going to do what makes them the most money and what the most marketing does. The Disney Princess franchise makes a lot of money for Disney, so they're not going to do something that, while progressive and while caters to all people, they're likely not going to go that way. At least I think.
Well, they had, of course, a black princess with The Princess and the Frog, and that made them the least money out of their last 10 features that
Well,
they
it
made.
was a successful film, but it wasn't the smash success they wanted. And they also had thought that maybe that's because they put the word princess in the title. You will notice that it's Frozen,
Yeah,
not
no-
the
no
Ice
more
Queen.
princess movies.
Tangled, not Rapunzel.
Right.
And those movies both did really well. They're also both CGI, while Princess and the Frog was traditional 2D animation. Is that going to be the new trend too?
So, right, we're not weighing in on whether or not it's socially responsible for Disney to provide us with a more diverse group, both color and shape or size, of princess. They'll do what's beneficial to them.
I think so, but that's just my opinion. What do you think? Has Disney changed for the better over the years in terms of the representations of princesses and princes and boys and girls and all shapes and all sizes, or is that not even necessary? What do you think? Does that make you want to watch these movies more or less? Let us know in the comments below, and please be sure to subscribe.